iPhones are made in India now, and they got a 25% tariff rate. Macs and Apple Watches now made in Vietnam, and they've been slapped with 20%. Apple now says it'll cost them $1.1 billion in the September quarter. From just that number compared to the quarter that just passed, $800 million. Is Apple absorbing some of this tariff cost? And what is your expectation now that we have a more firm set of numbers to deal with? What is the impact on the company?
I think Apple will have to absorb some of the cost because it cannot increase the prices for the models which have been already launched. That obviously, it does not bode well with their customers, loyal customers. And I think this is more of a wait and watch game. And it's a hanging sword, obviously, for Apple with respect to the tariffs. And for the consumers, I would say they would expect Apple to also be loyal to them and not increase the prices. However, if you look at the dynamics of the supply chain, obviously, US wants Apple to build phones in USA, but that is not possible because it takes almost a decade or more than that to build an entire supply chain manufacturing ecosystem in a particular country. China, Apple did well in China for the last 2 decades. And now with China plus one strategy, India, it almost took 8 to 9 years to reach here, where India is now shipping almost 70% of, more than 70% of the iPhones consumed in US market. So it's not going to be easy, but at some point, I think US government also realizes that iPhone is more of a mainstream, critical piece of item in a consumer's life, and it needs to be exempt, or iPhone, or rather smartphones or electronics. So I would see it being exempt also. It is more of a negotiation tactic to bring India and Apple onto the table to have more future investments or to crack some other deals.
Tim Cook estimated 1 percentage point of the 9.6% sales growth attributed to the customers that were front-loading ahead of the tariffs. How do you think that with the next iPhone release, which is usually in September, how is that going to be impacted?
It's difficult to say because it's also at the same time, while there is a tariff thing going on, which could drive up the prices, or Apple will try to absorb as much as possible. But at the same time, what is happening is the component costs are also increasing a lot. And you see the chipsets which are being used are cutting edge, and the cost of the chipsets have almost doubled in last 2 to 3 years. So still, Apple has not been increasing the prices of their devices. But I think with all the different permutation combinations affecting the cost of the devices, including tariff, I think Apple could increase slightly, at least by $50 to $100 for the new models moving forward. And with introduction of other new models and SKUs, which we have been hearing, there could be some area where it could recoup some of the cost where it has been increasing for most of the cost perspective for the Apple iPhone system.
Apple Intelligence is not available on the Chinese iPhones just yet. That's compared to Chinese devices which already have artificial intelligence. Is this Apple's Achilles heel?
At some point, Apple will have to address that with local partnerships and to figure out AI. Right now, it is an issue when you compare it with most of the existing brands which are using cutting-edge chipsets from like Qualcomm or MediaTek, like Honor or Oppo or Vivo or Xiaomi. But when you look at the biggest competition Apple has in China is Huawei. And between Apple and Huawei, it's a zero-sum game. So when Huawei had sanctions, Apple reached its record market share and revenue share in China. But after Huawei came back with their 5G phones, Apple's market share has been in decline, especially in premium segment, and Huawei has been increasing. However, Huawei does not have the cutting-edge chipsets, right? So it does not have that level of AI or on-device AI in their device. So right now, for the premium Chinese users, I think it's almost neck and neck with Apple and Huawei not having the most access to the Apple access to the AI on their device. Obviously, AI in the cloud is available for everyone, right? So Apple could partner with someone to at least bring the AI in cloud experiences on their devices.